Okay. Good morning once again, our school directors, and happy Environmental Day or Tree Planting Day to all of you. And today we'll also continue with where we stopped during our previous webinar on child abuse. And we'll be tackling a very crucial topic that speaks, of course, to the heart of the children that are under us, even in schools and even in our homes. And in the interest of time, I want to give this chance to our child counselor from Childline Kenya, Mariana OCSEA, who will also take us through or just do a continuation of where she left from the other webinar or the other topic that she was tackling. So today we'll be tackling online sexual child abuse, OCSEA, that basically will, of course, enlighten us on some of the various ways you can get to understand how a child is exploited sexually online. I know access to digital devices, that is mobile phone, tablets, has been very easy for our children, and they're able to access various materials and even interact with various people online. So how do we get to know how a child from the child's behavior, how do we get to know that a child is being exploited sexually, that is digitally on online? So without any further ado, I will share my screen and give a chance to Marianne OCSEA from Childline Kenya. She'll be able to tell us exactly what she do and what Childline Kenya do and how we can participate as school directors in working together with Childline to ensure that we are offering a safe space for our children even to grow and to just be children as they are. So I will share my screen and I'll also let you know before we proceed that this webinar is being recorded just for matters to do with the data protection policy. And the same will be shared on our social media, that is YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and other social media pages. And it will be accessed to anyone publicly who will want to probably review or later on get to watch at their own free time. So as we are continuing, I also want to request you, please ask other school directors to join, ask teachers, ask parents, or anyone within the education community to join, because today is that day where we'll be digging deep into what child abuse entails, especially now in an era where we are digital, that's one. Technology is easily available to even the children. They even know more than us adults. So please relax, take your seat as we enjoy our today's webinar. Karibu sana, Marianne.
Thank you so much, Betty, for the opportunity once again. Good morning to everyone. Good morning to the school directors, to everyone who is entailed into the education process. Welcome to today's webinar. And today's webinar, we are going to talk about OCSEA, which in full means online child sexual abuse. Na tunawakaribisha sana. So, okay, I would like to do a recap as from what we discussed the last time we had this webinar, and it was all about child abuse. And we talked about what child abuse was all about. And we saw that child abuse is, according to the WHO, according to the WHO, we saw that child abuse. Okay, what we talked about here last time was what is child abuse and what are the types of child abuse. So according to WHO, the fact that child abuse is any abuse that is, in short, who is a child? A child is a person who is below the age of 18 years old. Abuse are the things that children, the ill treatment that children receive from maybe the grown-ups, like students, not students, teachers, as parents ourselves. World Health Organization defines child abuse as all forms of physical and emotional ill treatment, It also includes sexual abuse, neglect, and exploitation that results in actual or potential harm to the child's health, development, or dignity. Physical and emotional ill treatment. Physical, the child being beaten up every other single time. Okay, we understand kuna kwanga na zile makosa that a child can do, and we have to rectify them. But also there's another point where the beating up of the child just becomes too excessive. Now that one turns into physical abuse. Emotional abuse, you have no kind words to tell a child. A child needs to be nurtured. The emotions are always so fragile. They need to be nurtured. How you speak to them really matters. So if you don't have the right words to speak to them, or you're every other single time, it's just abuse, insults upon insults, that's emotional abuse. And as you all see, and we have all noticed in a way, according to the way we have gone with the children, some of them have issues that they have developed with. And if you check them well, they all stem down to how they were raised up. The types of child abuse that we have, as I was explaining, the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, then sexual abuse. We've all heard of what defilement is all about. A child just, let's say below the age of 18, being mistreated or being mishandled by their relatives. We have all heard of those cases where an uncle has defiled the niece, where even the father himself has defiled his daughter, where the son also has been defiled by the uncle, by the cousins, such things. And all these things, they all they all put a dent into this child's well-being and how this child is growing up. Neglect. Neglect is where this child is just left. Let's say a parent is supposed, we know the parents, the mother and the father, according to the law of Kenya, the mother is supposed to provide 50% of the child needs, and the father is also supposed to provide 50% of the child. So in a way, the common right now, one parent decides to leave, either the mother or the father decides to leave. Then this one parent who is left to cater for the 100% of the children, of the child's needs. But as catering for the 100% of the child's needs, there are things that this other parent will not be able, because catering for all his needs is going to take up almost every other time that this parent has. So when it comes to connection with the child, looking after the child, it becomes a bit hard and hectic. And that's why now you can see now many people prefer to leave the children with the house helps. And too bad if you get a bad house help who will do nothing but hurt your child, or leave alone hurt your child, make your child indulge in things that they were not supposed to do at their age. So you see, that neglect leads to something else, leads to a dent into this child's life. And this dent, this child continues growing up with, and manifestations of this hurt and the things that this child has gone through now starts manifesting when the child is already a grown up. As you have seen in the way the World Health Organization defined, as explained, is that it's all these things don't help in the child growing up, or all these things they do not promote in the upcoming or upgrowing of this child in a good way. And that's why now you can see around, there are many things that are going on. Now, if you look behind very well, you'll find out this child, as they were growing up, there's something that went missing. Okay. In this era where we are all digital, technology is there. Our children, most of our children, even below the age of 10 years, they have phones and everything. There is something, the internet and the digital platforms. Okay, the digital and the internet platforms, they are double-edged sword. They are good and they are also bad if not taken care of. The digital internet, in the digital platforms and the internet, they help the children to positively interact and further develop as autonomous human beings, claiming their own space, while also facilitate age inappropriate content on online sexual harms of children by adults and peers. There are other people who have taken advantage of the fact that the internet is there. And they have also seen that there are a number of children. Okay, as a parent, you give out your phone to your child, or rather you buy your child a phone, so that in most parents, usisumbuliwe akili. Let the child be busy with whatever he or she is doing with her phone or her tablet, so that you can be left in peace to do whatever you are doing. Too bad for you. You do not look into what the child is doing. Too bad for you. This child now meets a person via online who is ready to be with them and to speak to them. Because ideally, children are also human beings who have emotions that they need to vent out. So if you as a parent, you are not there for your child, or as a teacher, you are not there for your student, to be able, as in you're not even you're not opening up to them so that they can be able to open up to you and to understand, so that they can be able to relay their feelings to you, so that they can be able to make you understand whatever is going on with them. They will go and find online, and an anonymous person comes in, shows them the care that they have been looking for from you, shows them the love they have been looking from you, shows them the attention they have been looking out from you. When they are given all these things, the child tends to be vulnerable to this person, explains to them what happens to them, how they're being treated, all these things. And these perpetrators, by the way, they do take their time when it comes to this thing, so that they can earn the trust of this child. And once they earn the trust of this child, what happens? They start telling them, do this and this, do this and this, do this and this. Okay, like send me your naked photos. I want to see your naked photos. Let's meet here. Like, let's say if it is a teenager, let's from the age of 14 years, let's meet in such a place. We do this and this. There's a case that I received also. I was dealing with it. I think some point last week. What happened is that this started talking to this older person. I think he was around 26 years old. The child was malnourished, malnourished of love, attention, and affection that she wasn't receiving from the parents. So when this person started showing her these things that she was receiving, she was lacking from her parents, she started trusting this person. So what happened? This person told her, let's do this and this, let's meet in this place. When they met, one thing led to the other. The child ended up having sex with this person, because ideally when she was talking to me, she was like, this person told me, if you don't do this and if you don't have sex with each other, this and this, we will stop talking. I will not talk to you. I will not look for you. This child is already vulnerable. In her thinking, as we were talking with her, in her thinking, she was like, I didn't want to lose this friendship, because this is the only person who has shown me that he can be reliable, I can trust him, and he can care for me. So I ended up sleeping with him. Too bad. The man himself took the photos of the child when she was asleep, took the photos of the child when she was naked and asleep. And after the whole deed, started now threatening her that if you don't do this and this, I will show this to the internet. Now the child, being vulnerable and being scared, she doesn't want her photos to be shown to the internet, and she doesn't want her parents to know whatever has been happening. I asked, is there any teacher that you can talk to who can be able to help you and navigate this case so that your parents can be informed of whatever is happening? She told me that there is no other teacher, that the teachers are too harsh and, okay, all sorts of everything. The teachers are too harsh. There's no one that I can talk to. And that's why I decided to call up for this number. Then I was like, okay, this hour, give me your parents' number so that I can be able to talk to them. Before even she gave me the parents' number, it took for a lot of convincing so that because the sense of trusting again, she had already lost it. She had already lost it. And even her talking to me and opening up, it was after a very long time, of probing to make sure that I understand her, to make sure that I feel her, to make sure that I am in the same boat with you and I'm here to help you. So when she gave me the parents' number, I talked to the parents, made them understand whatever was happening, and they stepped in and now started helping the child because ideally, even the mother was telling me, I have noticed that my child is going through something. She's just different, quiet. She doesn't want to talk to anyone. She just wants to remain alone, such things. And I was like, yeah, those are the effects of, of those are the effects of not online. Okay, whatever happened to her was now online grooming and a part of sexting. Online grooming, of which we are going to see, those are the forms of OCSEA, online child sexual abuse. Those are the forms of online child sexual abuse. And the effects, the aftermath effects are the child now starts to withdraw from people. The child now wants to remain alone. She doesn't want interaction with people. She has no trust with anyone. Uh, for the ones who are into it, Kabisa, now they start self-harming themselves because why depression has kicked in. Anxiety is already there. Now, when now I spoke to the parents, they stepped in and they saw whatever we were telling her was true. And now they had even to go to the police so that they can all be able to report the perpetrator of whatever whatever he was doing to the child. I am yet to follow up with the case and see whether the perpetrator was caught. But ideally, I am glad that the parents were able to understand the child because there's also another scenario that the parents can just snap and now start making noise towards the child, not even understanding, of which now is also another thing that we normally do by, as a mistake. When something of the sort happens to this child, you need to bring this child close to you. Remember, this child has already lost trust with people, with big people, with grown-ups here, the adults. She doesn't feel like he or she doesn't feel like they can trust anyone. So they withdraw from everyone. When such a thing happens, you bring in the child close, talk to them, help them to understand that you are there for them, that you are not going to overreact. Because ideally, in the first place, for this to happen, this child was looking for something that she was lacking within the family or within the school setting that where she was. So that is more of those are the forms of OCSEA. There's online grooming, as I've explained. There's the sexting, as I've also explained. And then there's also the fact that the child is also exposed to sexual materials, sexual child materials. They are called child sexual materials, yeah. Pornography for children. There's a way, okay, we all have these apps, TikToks, vitu kama hizo. There's in TikTok, there's where things are happening live. So there are other people who are into such. Children are taken, they are exploited sexually, and it is made as a live feed for other people to see. Other people are into such. They are, how can I say, they have fetish for such things. They have fetish for such things. And you get now that such things are being rotated around. You get a video of a child being mistreated sexually, instead of people doing the right thing and finding the right channels of where they can go and do what, where they can go and report the matter, that this child, because that child ideally is still in danger of whatever is happening, so that the child can be rescued as early as possible. But you'll find it is being shared all over social media, forward. I'm so sure most of us, we have received so many forwards. Unaona tu hapo juu, forwarded many times, forwarded many times, forwarded many times. But who is there to help this child? Who is there to make sure that this video reaches the right places? As adults, as teachers, and some of us also as parents, what are we doing when we see such? OCSEA manifests itself in many forms, which includes producing, accessing, possessing, consuming, or distributing child sexual abuse materials widely, which is also referred to child pornography. You see, OCSEA manifests itself in many ways, which includes producing. You are there, you are the one who is producing these materials. Accessing these materials. The first example I've given you, the TikTok live videos. Some of them have children there who are being exploited, and people are accessing and watching it because for such people, weird people, they have fetish for such. Possessing such materials, consuming and distributing those materials. The way I've just explained, forwarded many times. But ideally, who is stepping in so that this video, because like, for example, for the TikTok live video, you can see clearly this is live, which means that child in that period is still in danger. If you see such a thing, that is now the time now to prompt the right authorities, of which we are going to explain who are the right authorities, where you can go and report the matter so that they can take it up and go and rescue that child. Okay, the forms of OCSEA, as I was explaining before, online grooming for sexual abuse. This is when someone uses the internet to trick, force, or pressure a child into doing something sexual, like sending a naked video or image of themselves. And I've told you also, this when this someone uses the internet to trick, force, or pressure a child, is because this person has already gotten the trust from the child, and they're always threatened. If you don't do this and this, if you don't send me your naked photo, if you don't send me a video of you touching yourself, if you don't send me a video of you showing me your private parts and everything, that's things that are not supposed to see, I promise you I will stop talking to you. And as I was giving as an example earlier on, this child, because they don't want to lose this friendship and this person within themselves, they will do whatever they need to do so that they can maintain their relationship. It's just the same thing as us people, as grown-ups. You do what you have to do so that you can maintain your work. You don't, so that you can maintain a good relationship with your workmates, so that you can maintain a good relationship with your boss. Because ideally, this work of mine is giving me what I need in my life, what I need as per now. It's the same case with this child. She feels I need to maintain this relationship so that I can be able to be getting the attention, the love, and the care that this person has been showing me that I am lacking from my family or from my friends and even from my school. Another form of OCSEA is sexting, sending, receiving, and forwarding sexual explicit messages not appropriate for children, in brackets, photos or images, usually by mobile phones, of oneself to others. Sending, receiving. They send for them, send to them, Biani, they send to them videos and photos which ideally are not meant for the eyes of the children. Those are things that are meant for adults only. But now these children are being exposed to such things. And you see, such things so that they can be able to now get into that understanding what this person needs, what this person is trying to do. Usually by mobile phones, that is what happens. And that's why I'm an advocate of, if your child, giving your child a phone, it has no issue, yes, but make sure you understand whatever content your child is looking at. We have a way where we can link our phones with theirs. As when your child immediately goes to a site that is not appropriate, your phone will be able to show you, because whatever is in your child's phone comes now to your phone. He or she will be, as a parent, you will be able to know this child is looking at this, and this is something that you can stop immediately. But if you are not keen enough to look at what your child is looking at, or what your child is being said, or what your child is receiving, or what your child, even children to children, they send themselves such things. Because ideally, if I have my classmate and we both of us, we have phones, I receive something, a photo, that I look at it, I'm like, oh, let me also send it to a friend of mine. Even children themselves, they're sending themselves videos which are not appropriate. Therefore, as parents and also as teachers, we need you to help us to talk to the students and to the children, to be able to help them to be able to understand whatever is going on, that this and this is appropriate and this is not appropriate. If you find this and this which is inappropriate, you are supposed to report the matter immediately to your teacher, or even to your parent immediately. Because ideally, as a child, there's nothing that child can do, but you as a teacher and you as a parent, that responsibility is in your hands, to be able to help and guide this child into the right direction, so that they cannot be victims of whatever is happening. Many children have gone missing because why? They did the sexting and everything, and when that's when the child disappeared. Or even if the child comes back, the child has come back, yes, but the child, emotionally, the child is damaged. These are things that we as practitioners or protectors are able to help the children to avoid. And how are we able to help them avoid? By talking to them and helping them to understand what is appropriate as a child, or what is inappropriate as a child. Another form of OCSEA is also live streaming of sexual abuse. This is the broadcasting of live video internet in real time. It can also, as I explained earlier in my example, these are videos which are broadcasted live. Like, we can sit right now and that thing is happening at that moment. To an audience. There's already an audience which is already locked in, ready to view whatever is happening to that child, or whatever, how this child is being abused at that time. And as I say, there are people who are outside here who are very weird. They get happy with such things. They get happy, they get, how can I say it? They get turned on with such things. So ideally, if we come across such things, we need to report it as immediately to the various authorities, for them to take it up, so that this child can be helped. It can also be a one-on-one live video chat. We have the one-on-one live video chat that is always happening. It can also be in that form. We are chatting with you one-on-one video, like I am chatting with you, but whatever we are chatting is not of any importance to the child, but it is to distraction of the child. Excuse me, so sorry. Child sexual abuse material, which is child pornography. This involves images showing a child engaging in, or a child is depicted, portrayed as being engaged in explicit sexual activity or age inappropriate activity. Again, takes me back to my example of the TikTok video. But now these images are always being spread across. The images that showing a child engaging in or engaging in explicit sexual activity and or age inappropriate activities. There is no child who is always ready to be exploited sexually. No child. And even for that child to reach at that point, it means there's something that child was either coerced into that situation, but it was not in a willing way, because ideally, according to the law of Kenya, a child is below the age of 18 years old. 18 years old and below the age of 18 years old, they are under the custody of the parents or whoever is with them. So whoever, the parents or the guardians who are with them, are the ones who are supposed to make the decisions for the child, not the decisions for the child. Therefore, this child in such a situation, it means this child was coerced into it, threatened into it. Ideally, even if you look at the videos and everything, if you look at the face of the child, you can see the fear in the child, the misunderstanding that this child has, the confusion that this child has, the anxiety that this child has. But the child also needs something from this person who is either coercing her, him or her, or threatening the child. He or she needs something from this person. And that's why she is put in such a position so that she cannot be able to miss whatever this person is claiming that he or she will take away from them. The effects of OCSEA when it comes to a child, there's sexual extortion. Sexual extortion is a form of blackmail in which sexual information or images are used to extort sexual favors from the victim. Extortion, as I explained also, they use, once they now finish up with everything that they do, the images that they have now collected, now these images, the child pornography, as I was explaining in child sexual abuse material, they use now these images to continue pressuring this child to do whatever they did to do, to continue pressuring this child to continue to give them the sexual behavior, the sexual favors that they desire from them. I think that one I can't explain much further, because ideally I've already exhausted while I was explaining the others. So the forms of OCSEA are online grooming, sexting, forms of OCSEA in Amanisha, the forms of OCSEA, what now OCSEA deals with, or what OCSEA now entails with. Online grooming for sexual abuse, there's the sexting, there's the live streaming of sexual abuse, there's the child sexual abuse material, and now there's the sexual extortion. Now, effects of online sexual exploitation towards the child. As I said earlier on, it can happen in three forms. First of all, psychologically, the child starts becoming anxious, depression, depression, addiction. Once the child starts having this and this, they start being addicted to it. They want to do it frequently. They want to do it all the time because this child, okay, she has been threatened or he has been threatened. He has continued to give out the sexual favors that she is supposed to give or he is supposed to give. Within time, this child becomes addicted to whatever he or she is or has been coerced to do. And when he or she becomes addicted, that's the end of it. That's why now you can find at the age of, I don't know, like let's say 16 years old, this child already has become so addicted to a point that they don't want school. They just want to concentrate and do whatever they want to do. And once they get addicted, now they start, in a way, addiction now spills over to them, spills over to the fact that now they can start now recruiting other girls or other boys into what they have been doing so that they can continue. He or she can continue doing it with either with her peers or even with adults. It can also lead to low self-esteem because this child, okay, in some cases, what happens, this child always believes it was always her fault. Whatever has happened, it's either my fault, his or her fault. One thing that this child does not understand is that you as a child, you cannot be able, unless a grown-up comes in and fights for you, you cannot be able to defy whatever is happening around you. Unless the child now opens up to a grown-up and makes them understand this and this is what is happening. Now, in other case, worst case scenario is that when you open up to someone, the person now, you're already blaming yourself. When now you open up and try to explain this and this is what is happening, it has been happening and this is what I'm feeling. You as the adult who this child has decided, let me open up so that I can get the help, you now start blaming the child. Ideally, there's nothing you have done to help this child. Remember, this child is already blaming herself or himself that this is my fault. There's an example that I gave out during when we were talking about child abuse. A teacher molested a boy in their school, and that boy kept feeling that he's the one who failed. He's the one, he's the one who has the fault. Because ideally, he felt that there's something he could have done. But remember, this is a teacher who has authority over you. Because this teacher can come in and decide that he's punishing you. You don't understand why this man is punishing you, but he will just punish you. Why? He has authority over you. He's punishing you for refusing to do whatever he was requesting you to do, of which is not fair. Now leads to you, to the child having low self-esteem issues. Why? Because they believe that themselves, they cannot do anything to help themselves. The confidence is gone. The confidence has been killed, kabisa. This child is not able to comprehend himself or herself and be like, yo, I'm still a child and I need help. Self-harm, which now, if such a child gets down to that, what happens? They start self-harming themselves because one, they're depressed. That's the only thing they keep thinking about every other single time. Even if they're in class, even if they're at home, they're not, you can just see them. They're not within. Yes, they're there, but they are not there. Why? This child is already, there's something that happened to this child, and that is what she keeps thinking about. He or she keeps thinking about every other single time. And what happens now? Thoughts start coming in. As we all know, depression has a suicidal effect connected to it. The child starts thinking, I'd rather be dead than be here. Let me just start self-harming myself. anajikata one by one, the wrist, anajikata slowly by slowly, slowly by slowly, slowly by slowly, because she feels once she's out of this world, she will not be, she will be at peace. She will be able to live a happy life. She will be able to, he or she will be able to be at peace and not to be disturbed and tormented again. Eating disorders, you just notice your child, their eating habits have changed. Either they don't want to eat, or whatever they're eating is a little portion. And you've noticed, this child of mine, this is not what has been happening. Apana, this is not how he or she eats. There's something that also has triggered that. Suicide. Too bad when they're self-harming themselves, it goes to the extent they now kill themselves kabisa. I know we have heard of cases where, especially with the youth, they just decided to harm themselves or slit their throats. Why? Because they were going through issues that the parents could not understand, or the parents or even the teachers could not articulate as early as possible so that they can be able to be helped. So that one was for the psychological effects. We also have physiological effects physically. Pregnancy, once the sexual favors have been given, the child can end up being pregnant. After the child is pregnant, what happens next? This child has to give birth to this child. And when they give birth to this child, we all know that once a child is born, life is never the same. For both parents, life is never the same. There are things that one has to adjust, kabisa. And even if your parents are there and they are willing to help you, your life still will not be as normal for a normal teenager or a normal young girl or a normal young boy. Something has to change, because now ideally there's someone already who has come in, or who you are carrying within you, who needs your attention and who needs your affection also. And if we are not careful, this cycle always keeps repeating itself. So it's something that has to be looked at and cut off from the roots. Sexually transmitted infections. The child, okay, ideally these people, they know this child is pure and clean, but he himself is not pure and clean, or herself, she's not pure and clean. So they indulge with the children, and when they indulge with the children, they give them all sorts of diseases, the sexually transmitted diseases. Weight loss. Once your child's eating habits starts fluctuating, they have an eating disorder, automatically the weight loss will come in. This child will start losing weight one by one. The self-harm also. Self-harm, check at many, like an example I gave last time of the boy who was molested by the teacher. He was saying if the mother happened to look at his wrists, he has to put on long shirts so that the mother would not be able to look and see the scars that he or she that he has been putting on themselves at the wrist. Why? Because this child was self-harming, feeling that maybe as this blood drops, it's dropping everything that I have that is within me. But too bad, once it's bandaged up again, the feelings are still there. General ill health. The child just becomes ill every other single time. You're being called, your child is sick. 2 weeks later, your child is sick. 2 weeks later, your child is sick. You're thinking, what's not happening? What is wrong with the school? Is the food nice? Blah, blah. Is all sort of things. But ideally, if you decide to look into it deeper, there is a reason as to why this child is becoming sick every other single time. Because if you're depressed every other single time, if there's just one thing that you're always constantly thinking of, if your heart is always heavy in a way, you will always be sick every other single time. We have come across kids who have blood pressure. You're thinking, this child, you're too young. Blood pressure dia nini? Blood pressure dia nini? But you yourself, you're asking that child the question, blood pressure dia nini? You haven't thought that this child must have gone through something. This child is having a trauma somewhere. And I'm not understanding the trauma somewhere. And you need to look into it so that you can be able to understand and be able to help the child. Socially also, isolation from friends and family. The child doesn't want to associate with the family and friends. Difficulty in developing and maintaining relationships. This child will not have that capacity to maintain relationships, especially with adults, because they already have that concept in their minds that adults are betrayers. Adults cannot be trusted. Adults cannot show you the love and affection that you need. Or even if they show you the love and affection, this child is skeptical. What do you want from me? Because ideally it has already happened. It is already a post-traumatic trauma that he or she already has, that if you show me love and affection, there is something that you want from me, ideally. That's why now, if you start getting deeper with them, or if you are too much, if they feel like you're too much on their case, you're showering them too much with their love, they start moving away from you. That's not being able to maintain and developing relationships, even with their own peers. They cannot be able to maintain their relationships. They cannot, because they already have trust issues. They just want to be alone. So even if you approach her or him so that you can be friends, eventually the friendship will not work out, because ideally from time to time, she will just want to isolate themselves. They will just want to isolate themselves and stay away from everything. They also avoid certain places and people. They avoid certain places and people because it is already a trigger for them. There's this person where they see, it is a trigger for them. There's this place where they go, it is already a trigger in their life that it is a reminder of whatever happened to them. They have trust issues, as I was explaining before. In maintaining relationships, being with family and friends, there's always that level of trust that you need to have with the people that you are relating with. But if this child has gone through all these things, trust issues now come in. One, remember, you weren't able to give your child the love and affection that he or she needed. Yes, when you were not able to give that affection, what happened? She sorted it somewhere else. Too bad where she sorted it. She was blackmailed and she was coerced into doing things that she wasn't supposed to do. So one, she will not trust you as parents. Why? Or as teachers. Why? Because already you didn't give me whatever I needed when I needed. And when I got whatever I needed from somewhere else, that person shattered it completely. Now I do not have any trust with people once again. Even as teachers, we hear of cases where teachers themselves are the ones who are molesting children, molesting the students. Why would this child not even trust you? Why would this child even trust you? It is not even possible in any way. So the reporting channels for online sexual exploitation cases, like here, 116, and 116 child helpline, 116. 116 is a toll-free number where we receive cases of children under the age of 18 years old that are going through abuse, not only online sexual exploitation, but also physical abuse, emotional abuse, child neglect. Child neglect. There's also child labor, child trafficking, all such things, anything that is not appropriate for our child, anything that a child is going through that is not ideal for that child in that setting. We receive such cases. We receive the cases, we listen to the child. We also we also help the child to understand that we are there for them. We are there to work and to be able to give them a good life that they need, to be able to give them a good environment where they can grow up. So when you call us, we offer counseling, telecounseling via the phone. We give you the first aid counseling that you need at by that time. Then we now refer you to the various referral channels that we work together with, so that you can be able to get the help that you need. For example, within Childline 116, we also offer free counseling, whereby you can walk into our facility, sit down with a counselor face to face. The counselor talks to you, understands where you are coming from, dissects the situation, and now gives you the appropriate help that you need. We also, if you are not within our area where our facility is, we also refer you to other counseling centers. For example, we have Amani counseling centers. We refer you to there, where you can also go and get the help. Then we also have our WhatsApp number, 0722116116. You can also, if you feel like, okay, most of the time when you call via the 116, because it's a toll-free number, when you call via 116, you might get that it's very busy, or hold on for a long time before you get connected to the counselor you will get connected with. Because ideally, we always receive so many cases. As I said earlier on, we deal with cases countrywide. So you can imagine, we receive cases from the 47 counties that are within our country. The 47 counties, we receive cases, we deal with them. So ideally, sometimes the toll-free number is usually very busy. So the 0722116116, it's our WhatsApp number, where you can write, tell us, my name is this, my name is here, my name is this one and this is what happened. And a counselor is always ready there to help you, take you through. If texting, even the counselor herself, he or she can call you, so that you can be able to talk, and he or she can be able to understand where you are coming from and offer you the psychosocial support that you need. We also collaborate with the chiefs. The chiefs also can also be a reporting channel, where you can go and report the matter to the chief, because the chief are people who are within the area. And if something of the sort is happening, the chief is mandated to go and take a look into it and take the appropriate action that he or she fits them to take. We have the sub-county children offices. The sub-county children offices, every sub-county in the country has a children's office. You can ideally drop in, and the children's offices are usually located at the deputy county commissioner's compound, the DC's compound, or rather the sub-county offices. That is where the children's offices are located. If for quick action, and you are near within the sub-county offices, drop in at the children's office. Explain to the children's officer whatever is happening. The children's officer is mandated to take action against any perpetrator. Even the children's officer can take the perpetrator himself or herself to court, because he or she has that mandate to catch the perpetrator and take the case to court, so that the perpetrator, the victim, can get the justice that he or she needs. We have the National Police Service or hotline, there's 999, and then there's 112, and also 911. You can also call them, and they will also help you appropriately. You see now, like for the videos that are going around, they forwarded many times, we need to report this at KSAT via 254-0703 042000. KSAT now is now the organization now that deals with now the media itself, ICT itself, the information communication technology. They can be able to trace where this video has come from and be able to catch the perpetrator. Then we also have the Kenya Film Classification Board, whose hotline is 0748 184 499. Or you can drop an email at info@kfcb.go.ke. Then we also have Internet Watch Foundation Kenya. These are the reporting channels for OCSEA. Anything that has to do with online child sexual exploitation abuse, these are the channels that you can report, and you can be rest assured that you are going to get the appropriate help and that the victim is going to get the justice that he or she needs. Thank you so much for the opportunity that you have given unto me so that we can be able to explain OCSEA. One thing I've come to realize, OCSEA is something that people have not, it's something that is there, but not many people are informed for it. Not many people are informed about it. Not many people know the effect of it. And that's why many parents can be there and with that liberty to help to let the children do their own things via their phone, not knowing that there's something of the sort that can happen to your child via the phone. It doesn't have to be physical. Nowadays, physically where a child is met kwa barabara, then they are defiled hapo na hapo, or rather an uncle within the home sense defiled the child, or the father himself defiles the daughter or the son. No, it can also happen online, and it's something that needs to be sensitized. It's something that people need to be aware of. Now, here is where now you as the group in education, you can help us, because ideally you're the one who you stay with these children for like that period of 3 months. Like, for example, right now they're going back to school on Monday. As they open and by the time they close, there's always that opportunity to sensitize the children. During the AGM meetings, there's that opportunity to sensitize the parents or the various practitioners within the education sector, so that more and more people can be aware of OCSEA. And if the more people are aware of OCSEA, then it can be easy to deal with. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Mariana, and I work at Childline Kenya 116. 116 is a toll-free number where you can easily get the support that you need to get with whatever issue that you are going through. Remember, it's a toll-free number. When you call in, it is free of charge. Our counseling also is free of charge. You can also walk in to our facility and we can help you free of charge. We have our chat where it's our social media platforms. The chat is www.childlinekenya.co.ke. Facebook, Child Helpline 116 Kenya. We are also in Twitter at Childline Kenya. WhatsApp, as I also explained, 0722 116 116. Instagram, you're also there at Childline Kenya. And even we also have email 116@childlinekenya.co.ke. These are the various channels where you can reach out and you can be assured that there's someone at the end of the line, or rather at the end of the page, who is ready to capture whatever you are relaying to us, and you can be able to receive the psychosocial support that you need immediately. Thank you so much, Betty, for the opportunity to be able to explain more about OCSEA. And I am praying, it is my prayer and I hope in me that we will work together with the teachers and the directors to be able to sensitize our children and our parents about what OCSEA is and all about child abuse, so that we can have a farm generation that is coming up. Because ideally, they are the future generation. We don't need a damaged generation, but we need a generation that is strong and can be reliable, and a generation also that knows they have a backup that they can rely on. Thank you so much. It is an honor.
Well, thank you so much, Marianne, for taking us through this topic more and in a more elaborate manner. And I know that this is an opportunity for the school directors to just reach out directly to you or reach out to you through Ed Partners Africa. And
Yes.
I forgot to mention that as Ed Partners Africa, we are also adhering to the Matters to Child Protection Policy and the safety of the child, even in school and even in their homes. So therefore, in that line, if you have any issue of abuse, child abuse, whether it's neglect, sexual exploitation, or any other form that is in line with OCSEA, you can always report to Ed Partners Africa, and we can link you directly to Childline for support. And also we can follow through to see that, or to ensure that that child has been well guided, has received the necessary counsel, and he has gone through the relevant healing process, and even the parents have been involved. So as Ed Partners, we are also very keen in such kind of matters. So without any further ado, I'll give a chance to our school directors or attendees. If you have any question, we have various platforms where you can articulate your question, that you have the chat platform, have the Q&A platform, or you can just raise your hand. I'll give you a chance to talk. So I'll give 10 minutes to anyone who would like to, or who has a question to our presenters or our panelists for the day before we end our webinar. Anyone who has any question? Okay, it seems there's none. Thank you so much, Marianne from Childline. Our social media platforms are open at Partners Africa at LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and also YouTube channel. My email is betty.s@partnersafrica. So if you have any question, or you have any clarification that you need, or you need to report a case, please just contact us. You can contact our customer care that is also available in our website and our social media pages, and we'll handle the matter with the urgency that it requires to be handled with. So at this point in time, for those who are attending the webinar for the first time and they don't know so much about Ed Partners Africa is an edu financing organization or a financial institution that deals with the offering financial and non-financial solutions to private schools in Kenya and hoping to expand to other various parts of Africa. And we must say that we are able to offer you loans that will support with the development of your school, upgrade, matters to do with school transport, matters to do with water, hygiene and sanitation, renewable energy, and even technology. And above that, we also offer non-financial services that includes training, such kind of webinars. If you want a specific training for your school, especially with matters to do with child protection, we can always link you directly to Childline, organize for that meeting if it's specifically meant for teachers, or you want them to address the parents during your parents' meeting, or just teach and enlighten the staff members within your school on matters to do with child abuse, how to identify when a child is going through a situation, when a child is going through abuse, then we are able to link you directly with them and negotiate on how they can offer the services to you. And we'll be more than happy to see that your team or you, the staff members within the school, are aware of such kind of matters and are able to also assist such kind of learners within the school. So without any further ado, thank you so much, Marianne, and thank you so much to our school directors for taking your time out of your busy schedule and even out of this, the holiday that we're currently having, to just attend the webinar for 1 hour. We really appreciate you. And for that reason, we want to wish you a happy tree planting day. Please plant a tree as we promote matters to do with climate change and also matters to do with the environmental, social, and climate risk governance. So for that reason, I will end the webinar. And until next time, it's a goodbye from Med Partners Africa. Thank you.